Speaking of Chris, it's your turn.
All right. Okay, so let me get this over with. All right. So the year I think it was 2006. Yeah, no, it was about 2006. Yeah, same year as you. But I was actually still playing like the GameCube a lot because that was my main console. I also did get a PS2, but I was still playing a lot of GameCube as well because it has a lot of good exclusives that are well worthy, right? So I remember a friend of mine at the time. He told me about this one game that's related to a certain children's card game that I really liked. You probably might figure out what the card game is, but basically, he told me about this game, and he said it was like really good, and it was like really great, and all this like he was basically hyping it up, and,
Yeah.
and in this game, um I was starting to get back into the card game because I lost like all of my cards and I wanted to get back into it because I kind of missed it. And also, I like the old designs. And yeah, and also when I found out this game was like a part like RPG and it was very like experimental, I was like, oh, well, that's very different. Well, that actually sounds like it could be really cool and awesome. But I bought the game like brand new for like dirt cheap, and when you buy like these certain like these games for based after cards, like when you buy them brand new, they would come with like promotional cards that you can only get with that game. So I actually got like something kind of cool out of it, but the game was freaking awful. And that game is a Yu-Gi-Oh game called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdoms on the GameCube, and yeah, this game was really, really awful. It may not be as bad as that other RPG game I've talked about in your podcast, but for the longest time, I did consider it to be one of the worst like RPGs I've ever played in my life. Yeah. So basically,
Dude.
get this. Okay, so it takes like the Yu-Gi-Oh concept of having all the different monsters that you're familiar with, and you play it like a tactics RPG, but it's not like a grid-based one like Fire Emblem, which is another game I also did play at that time that my friend had. Another friend of mine had it, and he let me borrow it, and I love that game. But this one though, like it was more like real time, but it was also kind of similar to Ogre Battle, though of course at the time I didn't know what Ogre Battle was, but later on I found out, and I love that game too. And yeah, this game was like a really shitty version of that with like a really bad like combat system that is like super basic, and like every time like you like go into battle with like the enemy, like you can only attack like a certain amount of times, and then like the battle like is over, then like the pieces like get pushed back together, and it's so fucking tedious and slow and generic, boring. Like it just had like no personality to it whatsoever, other than the fact that it had some of your cool favorite monster cards. And also I found out too that one of my favorite cards was not playable in the game, which I thought was total BS. So I was like, yeah. So yeah, fuck that game. It sucked. And yeah, even one of the cards that came with the game was actually like a pretty useless card too. It just is like really shiny looking. But one of the other cards I came with was kind of cool looking. But yeah, it was still like, wow, like I paid like $20 for a brand new copy of this game because the game came out like 2003. So it was kind of older, but I still managed to find a brand new copy of it that had the cards, and yeah, it still sucked, like even for that price.
Dude, I was so into Yu-Gi-Oh back then too.
Oh,
And
really?
the games that you end up like the games that were just the card game were actually pretty good. I mean, it's because the card game.
Yeah.
But when they tried to venture off to do literally anything else, it was such a nightmare.
For the most part, I do agree, except for one. There was one Yu-Gi-Oh game I did like that was different, and that was Duels of the Roses on PS2. That one I actually still do enjoy to this day. But like the PS1 game, like Forbidden Memories,
Yeah,
that one sucks.
it is 2 discs.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, it has one disc. The reason why it's in a 2-disc case is because they needed room to put the cards in it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they couldn't do the fucking lunar box thing. They put like little bonus stuff in it. No, they just give you a 2-disc thing. But yeah, no, that game is really bad too. Like you have to like grind for like fucking ever just to get anything done.
Yeah. dude. But I was such a fan. I was such a super fan. It's like I'll just get anything. And the cards, like I remember one of the cards, one of the ones you would get is like Harpy's Feather Duster, which is like one of the most powerful cards in the game.
Yeah,
And they just tied it to a video game. Like what the hell?
I know. Like they want you to buy the game to get the cards. That's how they suck you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the one that came with Falsebound Kingdoms was that Goblin Fan, which is the useless card. And then the kind of cool card I liked was Zoa and Metal Zoa. Unfortunately, Metal Zoa, you had to get Metal Morph, which, you know, that was also hard to get too. So it came with another card that was kind of useless unless you had the other shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I used to be a big fan of the older cards. I still do like them. It's just, I just don't care about modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it sucks now.
Dude, every couple years I'll like let's see what's going on there, and it's just like it looks like a huge clusterfuck of like 5,000 different packs. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I'm out. I'm out.
They've
No.
changed the rules quite significantly too, so it's not the same.
Oh, did they? They changed the rules?
yeah, they have like pendulum summoning and all this, and I still don't even understand it. Like, apparently, it can allow you to like special summon like a certain amount of like monsters with equal to the level or some bullshit. I don't know. It still confuses me.
I actually bought this game like 2, 3 years ago, retro game hunting of all things, and I tuned out of any news. I didn't look up any reviews. I was like, oh, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh game, and I saw your Duelist of the Rose review or something along those lines, and I was interested in that game, so I bought that, and I didn't end up playing it because I just phased out my PS2. And I played this game for 5 minutes. I was like, I'm not playing any more of this. And I guess what I kind of learned out of that is like, and this principle applies to when the GameCube was like relevant or like, you know, alive as a console and getting games published for it. If you see a game for the GameCube that's under $20, be suspicious because there's probably something wrong with it.
Oh, so you played that the one I mentioned, the GameCube one?
The Forbidden Thing, yeah, and I gave it right back. I think I brought it to like the library. I was like, you guys can keep this one.
Oh, that's hilarious. But I'm sorry they had to put up with that.
Oh, no,
yeah, that
it's
game's really
fine.
rough.
Should have bought Spectro.
You know what? I might actually try Spectrums just so I can get rid of the taste of Yu-Gi-Oh! And fucking Eternal Quest.
There you
Yeah,
have
that's
it.
my story.
That's a good story. A lot of good